Today we have a strange one. This is sour plum flavored Fanta from Japan, once again. What's suspicious about this drink is that it has only about 50 calories in the whole bottle, but nowhere on the packaging does it say that it is in any way a diet drink, so I'm curious why it doesn't have any sugar in it, or like this little tagline here that says juicy bubbles. Yeah, I'm curious what that means. It doesn't smell like a regular soda at all. Definitely tastes like plum. It almost tastes like a plum gone bad. Like, it smells a bit like an alcoholic drink almost. Like, it kind of tastes like a wine, if a wine were a soda. I kind of like it though. Definitely not a taste made for America. I don't know if I'd crave this specific flavor or get it again, but I love the packaging of the bottle. I love these texturized, like, embossing dots going on here. There's a lot of attention to detail, which is cool. I really had no plan today on what I was going to talk about. I guess I haven't had any plan yet, and maybe that's something that I need to start working on, is having at least some kind of substance, or choosing a topic every day to kind of try and just trying to just improvise based on at least a loose topic, because at this point I don't really know why I'm talking to the camera, and I think that makes it even harder for me to continue to talk fluidly, because I just come in here with absolutely no plan, and maybe that's not a good thing. I guess I could talk about what I'm up to for the rest of the month. I've been working on, like I said, developing a 3D version of a convenience store similar to what you see behind me, by using Midjourney to kind of generate these shelving units, and then using the software to create depth maps, which means that it kind of gives it like that three-dimensionality that can then be made into a 3D model, so that I can kind of have like a bit of a texture to those images, and then use that as the shelf detailing. Because I think like a thing that's really hard to do in 3D modeling is something like a shelf full of products, because pretty much you'd have to manually go in and stack the shelves with smaller 3D models that have little labels and detail on each thing. And it's very dense because every model on the shelf has its own geometry. And to make it look realistic, you want there to be this kind of like human error detail of like the things not being perfectly placed, and that type of detail takes a lot of time, and it's very meticulous and tedious. So I've been trying to figure out ways to be able to make a store that looks realistic at a glance. Like, maybe if you look behind me at the detailing of the background, you can kind of see that the bottles like melt to the shelves a little, and like they're very kind of just disformed, and you can't really make out anything on the labels because it is just gibberish, because it's AI generated texture. So it's interesting, but I kind of imagine it being the footage being shot on kind of like a VHS style camera that can distort the quality to a point that you can't really make out things anyways. And that should add that extra level of realism, that even though those things don't look perfect when looked at in bright light straight up, but they'll sort of, once they're sort of blurred and you're just looking at them quickly, they'll at least seem kind of realistic because there's just so much going on in a way that would be really hard to replicate if you were doing it like from scratch in a 3D modeling way. So yeah, I've also been dabbling with Unreal Engine lately, getting better at trying to just learn new softwares, because that's a gaming engine, but it has a lot of interesting potential when it comes to doing VFX work because it runs in real time, so you can really see what you're doing and move around in a way that's challenging in Blender, especially if you want to go for realism. So playing around with trying to do more in Unreal Engine, because it gets that unreal quality to it that it's harder to achieve in Blender. But it definitely has its downside, since it's definitely not meant to be a VFX compositor at the moment. So you kind of are hacking you're hacking a game engine to make it work as a filmmaker, which is interesting, and I still haven't completely wrapped my head around it. But that's what this next week's going to be all about. So thank you.